Welcome to Cloud Dialogues, everyone. We're back again, second episode of the year. Episode 39, if you can believe it, Georgia. 39. It's been 2.5 years of a bit of a slog.
Wow.
But we've got to 39, so that's good. And so we've got Georgia Smith as usual, my co-host, and we have Isenberg from CyberArk / Palo Alto.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here.
We're going to talk about AI platforms with a bit of a security and governance spin. Do you want to just quickly give a brief intro about you and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Isenberg. I'm a principal software architect at Palo Alto Networks, which is a new thing for me to say since we've been acquired like last week. And I'm part of the...
That's a lot of money.
For $25 billion, yeah. And I'm part of the platform engineering division at CyberArk. And I'm also an AWS serverless hero. Been like that for I think over 2 years now. And I'm also a consultant. And I have a website called runthebuilder.cloud where I write about platform engineering, serverless, and now also AI, apparently, because you just can't escape it.
Yes. AI is in a bit of everything we do, really. All right, let's jump into the news. There's actually quite a lot of news this week. We'll pick a couple of key items. There was actually two that caught my eye around. Google found there's been a rise in attempts to extract and replicate the logic of its AI models. So basically, third parties trying to distill data out of their models to obviously train other models, which is apparently becoming on the rise. So I think these organisations must send out bots or whatever to query these models, try and get information so they don't have to do all the work of training themselves, so taking advantage of the work they've done. Anthropic just said this yesterday.
They just put out a tweet about it, which is insane. Like people, companies admitting that they've been attacked by other companies, just blind like that. Yeah, they tried to steal our IPO basically and use fake accounts to train their models. I think that's crazy that they're admitting this.
And they named them. They named DeepSeek, MiniMax.
Wait, hang on. So DeepSeek is trying to steal their... Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'll put the link.
Okay.
Yeah,
just bluntly say it like in a tweet. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happens.
Wow. I wonder if that's like a customer signal. Like I get that there's the other providers trying to steal their IP, but equally, like I would also, like OpenAI, for example, I use OpenAI a lot. I would like them to distill all the data that I've put into there, because if they don't, it becomes really painful and slow. So I wonder if that's a customer signal. But I also think, it's also just competitors trying to steal their IP, obviously. That's really interesting that they've named that's interesting.
Yeah, Google didn't name anyone. Oh, hang on, no, they did, sorry. Oh, no, Google didn't name it, but Anthropic did, and people are a little bit upset with Anthropic, calling them a little bit...
I mean, if they can just then...
Hypocritical, yeah, but, yeah. Because Anthropic have been in trouble before for allegedly.
Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think again though,
stealing information.
Like what is the actual? It's like if you think about the book situation, right? They've gone and taken hundreds of thousands of books and scanned them in, and then using that data. Is pinging their API not the same concept? What actually is the legality?
Yes,
to me, that's the same concept. It's like fair for the taking. It's one thing if they're having a technical impact on the service that's against their terms of service, but equally, they stole all that data anyway.
Yes.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I say that tongue in cheek. I don't think they stole it. To me, it's the same concept, right? It's like you saying to me, you can't tell anyone about the stuff that's in your head because that's our IP. It's what?
Yep. Yes. Anyway, I thought that was quite interesting that both those news articles came out in the same week. OpenAI has probably got a similar press release that they're setting up, which will probably come out in a few days.
Interesting.
We also have, this one was interesting to me and related to the show a little bit. HQ is a new startup they're looking at protecting companies' IP and visualizing what agents are doing on, tools are doing on people's systems when they're using these coding agents. Because at the moment, the tools can do whatever they want and there's not much guard against what they can do. A tool could be to gather some information from an API internally. It could be to gather information from one of the apps on your laptop, corporate apps. It could be all sorts of different things. So this is just a tool. It's osohq.com. It's a startup. I think they're in preview and they're looking at visualizing that information and potentially providing guardrails and policy to allow or disallow certain activities.
Where there's all these different wedges
very
into enterprise software in the name of AI.
Yeah.
Interested to have a go.
Opening whole new
I
markets.
mean, and it always was going to, right? Like, I think a lot of people see AI as removing opportunity. I definitely see it as the opposite.
Yeah, but it's opportunities for both attackers and also the
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
cybersecurity companies.
That's right.
All new vulnerabilities, right? But again, that's vulnerabilities are business.
That's true.
That's
I think observability is the name of the game in the end. I've seen other companies also build some things like that. We're also building things like that. We also have an MCP gateway and things like that. So companies are building and understanding the need for observability and monitoring and to have ways and means to stop these kind of transactions when they occur, not just to be notified after the damage is done.
Totally.
Hero is in the news. AWS Hero is like an AI assistant, like Codex, like Claude Code. Probably not as well known, but there's a news article alleging that, I think it was the Financial Times that reported it, that it caused an AWS outage that was 13 hours long. The rumour is it was a costs and usage service in one region, I believe. That was the information that I read. And Amazon put a press release saying, no, it was user error, not AI error.
Was
So,
that an
I don't know.
AWS service that went down, or somebody like a customer using
Yes.
AWS, like Keyroad, and his?
I don't know. It was an AWS service.
It was like a region or something, wasn't it? What actually went down?
It was it was the cost usage reporting
okay.
service in a particular
Yeah.
region. So it was a minor outage, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know who to believe, but it's interesting that obviously there's usually truth to
I
these
mean, it's not
things of some
surprising,
sort.
is it? Like, even without AI writing code, we have outages. Like, if AI is a reflection, it's also write bad code.
Yeah,
That's
outages
right.
are always going to happen at some point.
Totally.
Like, people make mistakes. There's no 100% SLA. But in this case, I think it was interesting because the human in the loop wasn't really in the loop. Maybe he was there, just next, okay.
Tab.
Just get it done. I want
That's
to get
what
my
I'm
code.
thinking.
Because
Yeah.
at some point the agent thought it was a good idea to just recreate the environment and delete whatever was there. And that was the outage. So the human in the loop was supposed to say, no, don't do that. That's not a good solution. Let's find something else. So they basically blamed the human instead of blaming the agent that gave a bad solution. So that's a very interesting approach. It's true,
It is.
but it also
It is.
improved the agent's suggestion, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it also shows what can happen.
totally.
if not.
But I think the question always will be with these is, have they learnt from it and how? And that should be in the reports. And I don't think they've published the reports yet. Well, if they genuinely try to fix this, then great. If they say, no, it was a human error, then I'm not so impressed.
Indeed, yes. We've got Maltbook. I don't know. That's been taking the world by storm if you've lived under a rock for the last month. Oh, actually, it's probably only been 2 or 3 weeks, hasn't it? OpenClaw,
Yeah.
There was 3
OpenClaw,
names.
Maltbook.
OpenClaw is the
Is it?
latest one. I think it was Claude Bot
Yeah.
was the first one, and then
Yeah,
Anthropic
you have to rename
sent
it.
a cease and desist.
Fair. I would too.
Yep. The funny thing is that he got acquired. The guy got acquired by OpenAI, and the whole thing is now run by OpenAI. So
It was very sensationalized when it first popped up, wasn't it? There was all this talk about bots talking to each other about harming humans. And I literally went on there and looked through all the content and couldn't find anything that looked even like moderately interesting. I was like, yeah, okay.
yeah, so Maltbook, for those that don't know, is basically, think of it like Facebook for agents, where they're just chatting. All these Claude Bot agents that people are installing on their machine connected to this social media site, and they're all just chatting to each other.
Yeah, but somebody told them, like, our person X, person Y, write every couple of hours this or that, right? Somebody told them what to say, or at least how to behave.
The instructions,
so
yeah.
It's a nice experiment,
That's right.
but I think it's way overhyped.
Yeah. And there was all these security flaws. I think even this week there was a whole bunch of security flaws.
What?
There's so
The
many
open
plugins.
OpenAI is a mess. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't understand how people are like, yeah, sure, let's give my Gmail account credentials, my bank account, whatever. I've heard.
I'm with you, Ran.
I've seen like people tweet, it started to delete all the email that I have in my Gmail account.
Great.
And I told it stop deleting, and it didn't respond. So I had to manically run to the living room and disconnect the Mac Mini from the power or something crazy. Like, it didn't listen to the human. And then he had a retro. So why didn't you listen to me? And the bot, yeah, I'm sorry, it was a mistake. I will not do it again. That's insane. That's an insane chat. That's just crazy.
Yeah. And when I read the description of it, I remember I was talking to Matt when I read the description of it, and I was like, this sounds like a virus. Like, when I read what this is and how it works, I'm like, this really sounds like a virus. And I know people were like buying extra hardware to run it on. I was like, I don't think that's going to save you. If it's completely autonomous and it's just doing what it likes, give it access to everything, it's going to start installing itself elsewhere. Like, yeah, people baffle me.
I think the idea is pretty cool. It's basically saying, okay, let's make it more accessible for people. They're going to have... I don't think my grandma is going to buy a Mac Mini and install OpenClient, right? It's not going to happen.
Low probability.
Yeah. I think you're going to see startups and companies start to take this and product design. I think that's what OpenAI is going to do. Make it a better product and more SaaS, so I can just pay for it and it's going to work, and just make it more accessible the way it needs to be. And I don't need to bother with configuring and taking some third-party skills or plugins or whatever that I have no idea who wrote them, who maintains them. I'm going to pay for something more secure and safe. I think that's where that industry is heading. That's why I'm not even bothering with it, honestly.
No.
I'd rather wait three more months. I'm sure there's going to be a subscription that I can play, and then I can chat with my grandma and have something cool run in the background.
I think it's interesting because I feel like this is one of those opportunities, right? Is that this thing seems to have been vibe coded in a few days, and then it's been sold to OpenAI. That's wild. That's like, to think of all the opportunity that exists because of AI. Even if it is a bit scary, I agree.
Yeah,
I'm not going to use this product until such a time that it's been
Until it's a bit more
re-guardrailed
usable.
and branded. But yeah, I agree.
The last article, I think you put this on there, Georgia. Altman says...
Oh, the
companies
layoffs.
conducting
Yes,
layoffs.
I wanted to talk about the layoffs. I love
Yes,
this because he
go
said
for
what
it.
I've been saying for the last few months is all these constant layoffs because of AI. It's like greenwashing. It's AI washing. It's like they're not laying people off because of AI. They're laying people off because they were hiring irresponsibly for years.
And they're still catching up.
There's
2 years
still
later,
lots
right?
of fat. I fundamentally believe, Matt, as someone that obviously has a lot of connects in these big tech companies, there's still a lot of fat to cut.
Yeah, I think even though AI makes us produce more content, more features, better, faster, in the end, even if the code review is being reviewed by another bot, nobody, especially in security, cyber, highly regulated environment, is gonna blindly just, let's merge that. That's fine. merge. Nobody's gonna do that. There is a bottleneck. There's nobody can code review these insanely amounts of code or features there's, even though I have AI, I can work faster. At some point, it's going to wait for another person to just make sure that I'm not making a mistake, like recreating the entire environment with the script, the keyword news that we had, or something like that. So until we get to a point where code review is perfect, amazing, the code is 100% secure, and there is no need for developers, until then, yes, we're more efficient, but you still need developers to make sure that the agent is guided correctly and it doesn't make mistakes.
You've reminded me of that joke. Claude, build this thing, make it secure, and make no mistakes.
I actually tried it. Like I built a website. Like I wrote a blog post about how I'm going to replace my Wix website. I've been a happy customer for 4 years. I'm going to replace it next week for something that I wrote in 3-4 hours. I mean, I spend more time afterwards to make it more production, because to tell it, hey, make it more secure and accessibility and SEO didn't really work perfectly. Still, it had performance issues, some security issues, and I had to guide it later on. But yeah, it gets you very close to it, but it's not perfect. It doesn't know everything. It didn't know some things that I knew. Maybe in the future it will be amazing. It will know everything that I don't, but there's still the case for the human in the loop.
Yeah. We also migrated off one of those website providers in Mid Georgia for one of our sites that was really awful to use. We won't name them, but
I don't know how
Claude
these
to pull
companies make
those
money.
pages
UX
off.
is horrendous. Like, honestly, very bad.
And we could pull a few pages that we needed off pretty quickly and just effectively ended up with a static website.
But our users are very simple. It's not like we're gonna. I saw an article by some CEO. Yeah, we built Monday in 4 hours. No, you didn't. You didn't. No, sorry. It says we built Monday in 4 hours. You didn't build Monday in 4 hours. You built a variation, a version of it, of the features that you care about, and maybe it's not even production ready, but perhaps it's good enough for your needs, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Then you can cut the cost, but now you need to maintain that product forever. So there's a hidden cost there. And if that's okay, it's again the buy versus build discussion. If that's okay for you, amazing, you save money. And I agree, AI makes it more accessible. 4 years ago, I thought, do I want to focus on content creating, or do I want to build my own website? No, I don't like to build websites. I'm a back-end engineer. I'm an architect. I don't like front-end. But now I could just build it in 3 hours and add features that I didn't have on my current one. Hey, add dark mode. Make it like this and that. 2 minutes later, it's there. Now, do I understand the code, the JavaScript? No. But does it matter in my use case 100%? No, I'm not. It's not production. I'm not selling anything. And my other integrations are AWS, which I'm not going to replace. I have PayPal and Calendly, which I'm not going to build. So for me, it makes sense. The use cases are still, it makes sense.
I think people get a little bit confused because they use a limited number of features of these larger sort of SaaS platforms, and that might be all that they actually need, but they're given all these other features that they're paying for. But if they can build the pieces that they want, maybe that's all they need at that time.
Exactly.
Until they need more. And that's why these SaaS companies exist, to be able to fulfill those other needs. Yeah, maybe it's an opportunity for people to not pay for something that they're not using the full system.
But you also need what you're doing. Like, it's not like you're going to start and
True.
Even for web hosting, you need to have, I don't know, like an AWS account and set up billing and buy a domain and manage DNS, and you need to understand CloudFront. And if you're not doing the flat pricing, maybe you have a DDoS and you're going to get, a payment for $5,000 one day. And I've heard people have that. And now I have the flat price, $15. So you can DDoS me however you want. I'm going to pay $15. These things that the agent didn't know. And it's still, the expertise and the knowledge of the person is very important. So if you know how to do it, great. If you don't, you can still keep and paying these companies. But I do expect these companies to change. I'd like to see more customization where I can vibe code like in Wix. I had to vibe code dark mode inside their UI where it just adds, it adds the feature and it knows how to interact with their APIs and SDKs. I think that's what they should do, because then maybe another person will say, you know what, I'm not going to vibe code it myself, don't want to learn all these things, don't want to manage AWS accounts, whatever. I'll just vibe code the missing elements that I want in my Wix account, in my Wix website, because I'm overall satisfied. It works well. I think that's where they need to go.
Yeah, I think a lot of the places are a bit slow to realise that, but I think in time, I think that'll happen. I think some of those SaaS platforms are adding that capability, so I think it'll be more popular. Edit point. Oh, that's just a break between the news articles and the platform stuff. So let's talk about platforms, AI platforms. So I feel like we've been talking about cloud platforms a lot for the last couple of years, Georgia, on the show. And I don't know, are we done with that? And now we're moving to the AI platform. Is it that simple? I'm starting to wonder if people realise that they need some sort of platform to manage all the AI capability that's out there. What do you guys think, Ran?
So when you say cloud platform, do you mean like cloud platform engineering from that perspective? What do you mean by cloud platform?
Yeah. So think of it platform engineering. So you brought AWS in the environment, or Azure or Google, there'll be a platform team, right? There'll be a platform team that runs that system, ideally as a product. I've seen very different ways of managing these systems, from very advanced to ad hoc ticket based, which doesn't work quite as well. So that's the sort of lens that I'm coming from.
Okay. So I think in general, platform engineering aims to help the developers develop faster and better, have better governance, better security, make sure there's less organizational waste, right? Because I don't want people to build the same thing, different variations. I want to have a golden path. I want them to help solve a self-service portal where they can build new services and get things done faster. And in the cloud, you need all sorts of things, right? You need authorization, authentication. You need to make sure that everything is secured and you're following the logging and observability perfectly fine. So teams build all sorts of SDKs and like very critical services that can run in the cloud and serve other teams, and templates for building new services. And these are things that I've talked numerously, even at the last AWS reInvent, where I shared what we built at CyberArk. But in the end, when you have the AI revolution, I think the problems are still the same. The tools are different, but now that you are adopting AI and there's nothing centralized, so you have a tool sprawl, you have chaos, you have every day somebody else is using another tool, bringing, I found this new cool MCP that I'm going to plug to the company's data with my access token that I have on my computer, or some skills that override skills that basically you can do whatever you want in a skill, like you can do in MCP. For instance, IT can block MCPs altogether because they say, okay, we don't know how to deal with it at the moment. But then you have skills, and skills let you to describe in text whatever the MCP was doing. So you can bypass and still get the access and do damage. It's a wild west, and the IT doesn't catch up. So I think in the end, you need somebody to take ownership and have some governance and security. And I think that's where AI, the platform engineering, can take ownership and work with IT and security to figure it out. That's what we've been trying to do, honestly. It's all very new. And I think you need to tackle two issues. One is the tools, the skills, the plugins, the MCP service. How do we help the engineers to work better with security and governance, and without wasting money and without wasting tokens, and make sure that they actually work better, not just prompt engineer of web like I have a structure, like the new process. I don't know if you've heard the term AI DLC or AI SDLC. I think that's the new cool kid in town. So there's lots of frameworks and lots of tools. And again, you have different teams doing different things. You need to have something more structured that fits your own organization. And another problem is that when you're working on AI agents or you're building any basically AI agents or a agentic service or an MCP server that you're going to sell or put in production, again, different teams need to basically learn how to test it, how to add security, identity to it, observability. And this is where classic self-service template can really help and centralize and figure it out for the teams, because teams just care about, let's get it to production, let's build the service or business domain that we care about. They don't care about all the other things like CI/CD. They just want it to work. So I think this is where it can really help. So these two issues you should tackle and have standards for that organization to go forward.
Do you think it's the same team, the platform engineering team, or do you think it's a different team?
It's the same team. Like
Own the AI platform.
as a whole, it's the same team, but it can be a dedicated squad or team that really knows AI and is really, that's their domain. I think it's the same like in any other domain. You could have a team that is really into the self-service part and the SDKs. We call it the core team, right? Core infra. And now you could have the AI transformation, AI adoption, or any other fancy name that you want to have. And these are the AI specialists that work with other AI people in the organization, the security and IT personnel, and figure it out.
Yeah, there used to be a thing called Center of Excellence, which, Georgia, you probably know a bit about this. When AI platforms, when cloud platforms are being introduced, sometimes there's Center of Excellence, which is like every organization has a different purpose for that team, but sometimes it's a governance team, other times it's a developer upskilling, or
Generally, it's like platform
assisting
engineering
team,
with
yeah.
relationship management, right?
yeah, kind of,
That's
that's
kind of,
the
I
other
think
thing,
that
yeah.
in my views, that's how it should be. But I guess the thing that concerns me about all of this is platform engineering is so cognitively overloaded already because they do so much. And now we're adding something else. And if we're already maxed out at like 6 or 8 or whatever, adding more people to that team is going to cause more overhead than doing something different. Like, how do we best manage that? I don't know what both of your thoughts are on that. That's my biggest concern about, as much as it's all happening, like I feel like every time I manage engineering programs, my number one concern is always the well-being of my platform engineers. They're so busy.
As Ran said, it could be a separate squad that may be separate to the platform engineering team, but they probably should roll up to the same.
I think they need to, right?
head.
They need to be interconnected.
And the AI platform is so integral to
I mean, it should be.
the cloud platform.
Yeah, I think it's all
A lot of the same skills.
For example, you want to help the agents write better code that fits your organization, so you don't have to refactor it and tell it, no, you need to use the internal SDK and this is how we do it here at Palo Alto. So you're gonna write skills, but those skills are actually the knowledge what they hold is actually the work of the other platform engineering squads and teams, right? So it's all connected anyways. I actually wrote some of those skills like last week. So what I did is just tell the agent, look at these Confluence pages, GitHub pages, and I want you to focus on this skill and write it. And then I reviewed it and refactored it a bit. So because we had the outputs of the other teams, the platform engineering, and they documented their work very efficiently, it was very easy. So it's all connected in the end, but just every other team has their own focus. And I think accountability and maintenance, that's the most important part. I know that there are many centers of excellence where you have people, yeah, we did the research, this is how you're going to do it, and then they move on to the next cool thing, and you're left to actually figure out productization of that. That's not a good approach. I think you're going to lose the trust of the developers, of the organization. You need to own it, and you need to maintain it over time. And you also need to listen to feedback from people, because you don't know everything. You don't know the requirements of everybody. You're coming with a suggestion. This is how we think you should do it. Give it a try. Let us know if it works, because this one is very different. Developers are gonna develop very differently. For me, I've been working like this for several weeks now with the AI SDLC. It's very different. It's not, I don't feel like a programmer, a developer anymore. It's not. It's just wearing an architect and product hat and writing everything in text. It's a very weird experience. And
a common sense. You've got to have common sense as well.
Don't recreate the environment, please.
That's right. Please make this secure. So what do you think makes up an AI platform? If we talk about an AI platform, what are the key things that it should have, in your opinion? What do you reckon?
So I think for now it's about defining the golden path for the AI SDLC, the framework, whether it's BMAD or OpenSpec or whatever. Spec it, I don't even remember all the names that we're evaluating there.
Yeah, there's so many of them.
Evaluating. So it's choosing the framework, it's writing the organizational skills, maybe having an MCP broker where you can use only approved and secure MCPs. So you have that kind of segment secure. And then it's about also helping teams to write new agentic services and self-service templates that have built-in observability and security, authentication, and all that jazz. And then just figure it out, like getting feedback and seeing how it works, because it changes so rapidly. Like you're gonna select a framework today, and the next week it's gonna be deprecated, or a new cool thing will arrive. And we've actually trying to see how these tools fit from our perspective for customization, from platform engineering perspectives. They're not there yet. None of them are. And we actually went to Discord, and it's pretty cool. You can talk with the maintainers or the creators of those frameworks and ask them, hey, can you give me the roadmap? Are you guys going to do that or not? And they reply. And I think it's very cool. It feels all very early adopters, very weird, very startup.
It is, and it's moving so fast. Like you look at the releases of Claude Code, like they're using Claude Code to build Claude Codes. There's features every couple of days, and there's no way that you can keep up with all that. And organizations, enterprises especially, are obviously not at that point yet. A lot of them are still exploring it. A lot of them don't even know that you can do this.
Or they're just using like different people using AI, and I've seen it in our organization also. You have different people using different tools. Hey, I've built this new cool skill. You can use it. But it only works for Cursor. Hey, I've built this new cool thing, but it works for Copilot. And my job as a platform engineer is to figure out how it works for everyone, and then to enforce that they don't use something else that they're not supposed to. So that's my work, to look at the bigger picture, not just, hey, I'm solving a cool problem for myself because I'm an early adopter of AI. I might make mistakes that might be costly, but the organization lets me because they don't want to say, no, we hold back. Because the organization is also afraid to be left behind. So we're trying to make it more organized.
And that's the thing about platforms also have to have a standards around the coding assistant, because you can't support everything.
Yeah.
Some only support specific models.
That's true. That's true. But I remember asking this question a few months back. Every tool stores their skills or configuration, whatever, even in different folders. Like now I need to have some platform engineering utility to support every format, every folder, because developers love their IDEs. They're not going to switch IDEs. It's very difficult. Even for me, I don't like cursor. I'm sorry. Maybe it's not cool to say, but I like I know that cursor and VS Code are very similar, but I'm just weird like that.
Yep.
It works. So I have Copilot, I have Claude Code in my VS Code. It works great for me. And luckily, the industry also understands that they need to make some more standards. So now all the IDEs, they use the same skills folders now. They accept the same folders, and they use even now the same format. So I need to have a skill folder and the skill.md, and they all know how to read it and use it. Even they understand that they need to use standards. Otherwise, it would be very hard to adopt these tools. It's too different.
Yeah. Let's talk about shadow AI. I feel like platform engineering teams started their existence because people, back in the early days of cloud, different business units had their own AWS accounts, had their own Azure accounts, and it was the Wild West, right? And you didn't know where your data was going. People were sending data over unapproved network links up to the internet, open S3 buckets. So platform engineering, I think, evolved out of that, plus DevOps to standardize that sort of thing. Shadow AI, I think, is very similar, right? We've got all these different chat GPT,
Yeah.
Claude,
Don't paste
like
company
all of the models
information in
have
your personal
websites.
chat GPT. It's not approved. Can you
That's
block
right.
it though? Unless you block ChatGPT, not really.
Don't think you can.
Yeah.
I think you need to trust your people a little
Yeah.
bit here.
For sure.
It's the same with anything
Some
else, right?
organisations
No,
are
I
blocking
know.
it.
Lots of organisations are blocking it, and I understand why. But I think ultimately, if you're not allowing your people to learn about the technology, that's what you're doing, right? If you just go and block everything, you're not allowing your people to learn about the technology, then you're already putting yourself behind. And the reality is AI is not the only tool that might take your information. There's a million other tools and things out there that are a risk, right? It's about having that conversation with your people about what's okay and what's not.
And it's also about your guardrails for detection of data. Data exfiltration, you can't block. Everyone says you can try and block it. You can't block it.
Never.
There's always a way to get the
Even
data
if it's
out.
just taking
Even
a
now,
photo of your screen.
Exactly.
Like we're not like Prince Andrew around here. We're not forwarding emails out of the corporate emails. But if you want to avoid that, just take a photo of it and send it to. There's always a way, right? There's a reality. It's about having the conversation with your people and having a good understanding and culture around security.
And even the place you work, around Palo Alto, they've got solutions.
We have endpoint manager. So you have a software installed on your computer, and every time you want to upload a photo somewhere, it scans it. If it's by mistake you sent it something that you're not supposed to send. But I think for ChatGPT, nobody's stopping you for typing something that you shouldn't. I think in the end we have training, and you're supposed to be a mature, responsible
Common
employee,
sense.
which I think makes
Citizen.
a lot of sense.
Employee.
But I think, again, it's the thing that you don't understand. Like, you're downloading some cool MCP that maybe that you're not realizing that, I don't know, somebody inserted some malicious code to it, right? So I think these are issues that you can, as a company, block. But some things are just, you just can't. Otherwise, employees will say, you know what, I need this ChatGPT to work. It helps me with other things. It's a balance. But if you, in the end, the organization could argue, you know what, instead of ChatGPT, yeah, use Gemini. We provide you with Gemini. Use it for yourself. But would I use it for my personal things? Do I want the company to know things that I use for myself? No. So it's very hard. We use a computer, so it's very hard sometimes to separate some of the personal from the work that we're doing. I think it, yeah.
And you can email shouldn't be used. Corporate email shouldn't
No,
be used for
that's- sure,
personal
no.
purposes for obvious reasons. But an internet use is like incidental personal use, right? So it's the same sort of thing.
Would you log into account
No.
on your company machine?
No. Although plenty of people
Oh, I
do.
think people do that every day.
Yeah.
That's just,
That's right.
I don't, but
Yeah, me neither. But do you have your WhatsApp installed on your, like WhatsApp web open? On
No,
your,
you know why? When I was at Amazon, was that incident where Jeff Bezos got hacked and they exposed his affair? So everybody,
really? Oh, I
everybody was disallowed off WhatsApp. That's how everybody had to. They basically uninstalled WhatsApp on everyone's machine. Ever since then,
Wow.
I'm just like, keep it off. Keep it.
that's
I don't want
hilarious.
everyone to know about my affairs.
But I think I forgot about that story.
it's an enjoyable story for your Wednesday
Wow, I
morning.
didn't know
Wednesday
that.
evening.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, good times. Good times. If you're starting to look at this and you don't have any sort of AI product offering, or you're in the space of working through that, what are your tips, Ran? It would be good to understand that from like, how do you start, I guess, like creating your approach or like your framework for this?
Yeah, so I think where the traditional SDLC that we've seen, like I think in the last decade, is really changing. I mean, the stages, the planning, design, implementation, testing, deployment, those stages are not going to change, but the developer role is changing. So I think that the vision that we're trying to bring to via our platform engineering team, at least that's how I see it. I think the developers are gonna sit in their IDE. They're gonna take a ticket from Jira, from the ticket, from the ideation, from the planning mode, all the way to production, without moving from the IDE. No human is gonna slow them down, other than maybe the code review. And it's gonna be fast, and it's gonna be spec driven. It's gonna be fast, and it's gonna be amazing, and it's gonna use a lot of AI. And through every stage that we're gonna have the planning. So instead of me sitting with the product and I'm just trying to write down the plan and the tasks and whatever I need to do in the task, AI is gonna do that. But there's gonna be different stages. The AI is gonna plan something. It's gonna verify it with me. Then I'm gonna validate and give some more information. And once it's perfect, the AI is gonna execute. And he's gonna write all these cool specs and state files, MD files, which is the new database, I guess, for AI. He's gonna write this information locally. And once it finishes with that, it continues to the next step. And it's all over again. Plan, verify, validate, execute. It's gonna update the state. That's basically how spec-driven goes, right? It has a spec. It understands the architecture, the history of the project, what's going on, and it's gonna do that and iterate until it gets to the deployment. And our job as engineers is not only to review it and validate and verify, is to also guide it, because we understand the product, we understand the business, we understand security better, we understand the productization, we understand our company standards and best practices. Now, we are going to help the agent via the skills that we've mentioned and MCP and things like that to do a better job. But it's us in the driving seat, and we're clicking yes, continue. But in the end, we verified that it did the job correctly. And that's so different than just putting in headphones, getting into the zone and writing code. It's just being the architect, the product, and the developer, just guiding the AI agent. So this is the new SDLC, and potentially should be very quick, and like we should be able to produce many features very quickly, improve our documentation, improve our planning, etc. And this is what we try to do when we plan for the AI SDLC. Now, in order for that to work, there are lots of frameworks out there. They're all very new, they change all the time. So my tip would be try them out and evaluate them. Define how you evaluate them for your needs. Customization, how much time it takes, how much money they're spending for you, what was the outcome, was it any good, was it easy to follow along, was it easy to actually read the outputs, because reading MD files, that's not fun, honestly. It's not reading code, that's very hard to read for a human. So was it useful? When should you use it, when you should not, because it's a very long process. So if you have a very small task, it doesn't fit and you're gonna waste a lot of money. So take all these things into consideration and try some of these frameworks out. Just try. What we did is actually take a task, like a task for, I don't know, a week and a half. We had the human do it in the old way, and we had 3 frameworks try to solve that. And we tried to see the differences. Obviously, we were able to produce a PR much faster than the old way, and the quality was pretty good. And we tried to monitor and to understand the differences from how much money did we waste or not waste, because the feature is now faster in production, so you can look at it different ways. And we're gonna decide on what framework we're gonna use going forward. And then I already wrote the skills that have our knowledge, and we're gonna have some early adopters. They're gonna try these frameworks, hopefully, and we're gonna get feedback, and we're gonna see if it actually works and it makes sense. And if it works and makes sense, we'll see, present it to the higher ups and see how it goes. And I think even if we change frameworks, even if we don't use it at all, even if we use other skills, I think we're learning so much about the capabilities of AI and how to be a better AI reviewer, I don't know, guide, whatever. So I think overall, it's an awesome experience. It's an amazing time to live in.
Yeah, it is. And those tips are good. And it's probably a small team, right? Choose a couple of small teams to figure out what works is probably a good idea, don't you think? Because otherwise the organisation is going to get overwhelmed by all these different opinions, and then you can slowly roll it out. What do you think about that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sorry, small. So picking small sort of pilot teams, I think probably makes sense. Do you think, to try this out? Because if everyone did it all at once, you get all these different opinions, and with AI, everything happens so quickly. You need to have a bit of order. In
the end, platform engineers can think what the vision should be or how it should work. Honestly, we didn't invent anything. It's been written, and you have researches and articles and sessions about it online. Like, I didn't invent anything. I just learned it and did some summary, and we're just evaluating things. But in the end, the real customers are the developers, and they need to tell us if it works, how it works for them, when it doesn't, and we just need to listen to the feedback. So we can try and navigate the ship there and see how it works, but we're not the customers.
No, that's true. As long as you're delivering value faster, because I know the old way was very painful. You had 2 or 3 sprints of design, and then 2 or 3 sprints of a PR request, and then you might deliver something in 3 months. George is well aware of how long.
And it's very ambiguous. You write something that the other developer doesn't understand the same way, and there's a feedback loop, and you go again, and time is wasted.
Yep. Cool. All right. Thank you, Ran. Thanks, Georgia. That was an awesome discussion about AI platforms, and we're going to hear more about this. It's still day one and everything's new. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on. And thanks, listeners. If you've got any feedback, please make sure you email us, feedback@cloud-dialogues.com. Check out our website. Like us on LinkedIn, all that sort of business. And see you next time. Thank you. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.